What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the Fightful.com podcast. October 31st edition, the Halloween Haunted Spooktacular episode. I am joined by Jeff Hawkins of Shake Them Rooms. He won't be able to do tomorrow night's show, so we decided to bring him on Monday. So there's three of us, three talkative dudes. We'll try to keep our points concise. But Jeff, you're on Mondays. It's been a while since you've been on a Monday.
Yeah, I can't make it tomorrow night. Spending the night here putting razor blades in apples. No kid showed up, so, you know.
I said off the air, you live in LA. You should have just given him clean air.
Clean water, yeah.
I don't know how the hell to introduce what is on the show with us. So, this guy's about to be full-time with us. How do I pitch to this? Alex Pawlowski, I think?
That's me. Yeah, I'm here. I don't understand what the big deal is. It's Halloween, guys. That's it. It's just Halloween. It's a regular show, except it happens to be Halloween. Just like Raw tonight. It was a regular show, except it happened to be Halloween. So while they had
goddamn mouth on that thing moving.
Yeah, sure.
Raw has caused him to devolve already. It's terrible.
It has. See, while Raw had a segment with the Golden Truth at a haunted house, we just happened to have, a guy in a gorilla suit. It's just a regular show, except it's Halloween.
So, was there not a Phoenix Suns home game tonight?
Yeah, too far to travel. That would have been a road game for me.
A planet where apes evolved from men?
Well, it doesn't look like TNA is going to be doing any evolving, guys. I figured we should attack that before, because some people are still gathering to get in for the Raw stuff. Plus, there are some people who like to cry when we do news before Raw, and I like to piss them off a little bit.
Sure.
Billy Corgan ain't getting the company. He might get 35% of the company, but as we speculated, or didn't speculate, we had Leslie Floyd tell us he's not getting the company in the manner in which he gave that loan. It's just not going to happen. And now Aerolux and the Fight Network, Anthem, the parent company, are going to be running about 95% of TNA. Now, what this does is it leaves about 5% with Dixie Carter. They can operate their business without Billy Corgan. They don't need him to make any decisions. Billy Corgan has to be paid back, within about an hour and 45 minutes Central Time. I think it was, I need to look at the figure. It was over $1 million. Well over $1 million. And he is able to instead cash that in for 36% ownership stake. Yes, $1.8 million. He bailed them out on multiple occasions. Jeff, your thoughts about this ruling? Maria and Mike Bennett are not happy.
Well, look, the wording of the contract signed was very specific. It's to the letter of the law. Learn what you're signing. Learn what you're dealing with. I don't feel sorry for Billy Corgan at all. This is the bet he made. I'd love to have seen him try this product, but I don't have much hope for anybody running this thing. I think it's running on fumes anyways, and I just think WWE is just sitting there waiting for it to go bankrupt and to pick up the library for pennies on the dollar eventually, unless the Fight Network comes in and keeps dumping money into it.
Alex, is there any interest on your behalf in regards to TNA in this incarnation?
Only with Broken Matt Hardy and his shenanigans. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Broken Matt Hardy Zoo, but that's just probably because I'm a gorilla. But other than that, I'm in all seriousness, that's the only thing that keeps me watching is whatever Broken Matt Hardy's doing.
Can you get your microphone inside the gorilla suit?
Sure, I can do that.
I like Matt Hardy. Don't get me wrong. I think he's been fantastic in this run. Now with Anthem or whoever running this thing, is Goldberg going to basically be the guy in charge? And there goes a bottle. Is Goldberg the guy in charge now, Sean Ross Sapp?
Jesus, I hope not. And I've spoken to some people who do like John Goldberg, but after the news came out that he tried to angle to get himself a job with WWE by selling off the library.
Yeah.
Jeez. And Dixie Carter blaming Billy Corgan for guys not getting paid. I can't imagine the amount of bad will. Not to mention the guys from Aerolux who probably will be running things. The shit they're involved in, I don't really need to talk about it, but I mean, it's not hard to find.
No, there are other lawsuits involving Aerolux, so it's not like they're out of the woods either.
No, definitely not. But we had Monday Night Raw tonight, and we came out of this Hell in a Cell show. Everybody, it seemed like I was the only one who liked that main event. It seemed like it.
No, I did.
But
I did a lot. I watched it. I watched it today, and I didn't understand why everybody last night was complaining about it. I gotta be honest.
I thought it was fantastic. Thought it was awesome. But we had Raw either way. I kept a Raw blog. As you all know, Vince Russo, unfortunately, his mother passed this weekend. Our condolences to him. So obviously no podcast on Friday. The Vince Russo or the Matt Riddle podcast will be open to non-members on Tuesday. And no Raw blog from Vince this week either. I did one, though. It should be up tomorrow. Alex, were you surprised that Goldberg kicked off this show?
No. The main reason being that the whole thing was going to devolve into a bunch of Halloween hijinks. So I figured they wanted to keep everything kind of serious with that because that's the actual thing that's keeping this whole thing afloat. Let's do that first, get it out of the way, and then we can kick off the shenanigans with a big pumpkin-themed match. I thought it was a good use of Goldberg and Heyman. Not a great use of Rusev, but I was not surprised considering that it was a Halloween show. If it had been any other night, I think they would have saved it for later.
You know what's ironic, Alex?
What's that?
Some people in our chat affectionately refer to you as A-Train because you bear a resemblance. Now, with all the body hair, you bear even more of a resemblance.
Even more of a resemblance. Yeah, it's true.
I just love that a man in a gorilla suit has disdain for a match involving pumpkins.
It's true. I have some standards, Jeff.
Oh, okay, good.
That's going to be like a sauna suit. You're going to drop like 10 pounds.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Every year I bust it out.
I sweat when I do this show sometimes. Got the lights and all that crap on it. That's why sometimes when I do the show with Jeff, I'm like, screw the lights.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. But I like the opening segment, but I don't know about Rusev being the one to get fed to. I mean, I guess it didn't hurt him, really. Do you think, Jeff?
You had two choices because Vince wanted to go with the big guy. So it was either going to be him or Strowman, and they're not going to feed Strowman to him. Not yet, at least. So
Titus.
Titus would have been a better choice. Titus would have been great.
I don't know that Titus can take a jackhammer.
I don't know that. Look, that whole thing came off clunky anyways, and there's definitely some ring rust there for Goldberg.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. He screwed up. You know, all the bitching, all the whining I heard about, I hope Charlotte and Sasha don't get hurt. They're going to get hurt. I'm worried about Brock Lesnar and Goldberg getting hurt. Two guys that have never cared about dropping somebody on their heads. Also, two guys that are probably going to have to beat the shit out of each other to make a match entertaining. Also, one of which we just saw stumble and roll around on the mat, and boy, that was messy. He tried to throw a knee, and I thought like he tore a quad or an ACL or something. I did. I feared that he was injured. I thought that Goldberg was like hurt.
Yeah, it came off really bad. I mean, they got it back, and Rusev went up real easy for that jackhammer, which really helped Goldberg quite a bit. They wanted someone with some heft. It was Rusev because Titus is so far down on the pecking order that he wouldn't have mattered if he had come out and gotten jackhammered.
Right.
I'll say this. I like the edited version of this segment.
Which is?
Yeah.
which is just Goldberg not screwing up. You know,
Oh, I
they
see
showed the
what you're saying.
replay.
Yeah.
He didn't screw up.
No, the thing with Rusev is that you've at this point you've buried him so deep that there's no daylight that can get to him. Like after last night, where you've decided that the accolade has no effect on somebody when used with a chain, and then tonight where he comes out and is a sacrificial lamb to a dude who's basically 50, who hasn't been in a match in 12 years. You know, he comes out and says, you know, who the hell do you think you are? I am Rusev. I am greatest athlete. And even though I lost last night, it doesn't carry any weight anyway either. So it's just such a terrible way to break it to him, to like, he's just this guy he's not going to be in any way involved in Survivor Series. It looks like he wasn't in that battle royal for a spot on the card. So he's kind of just way out of things at this point, and he deserves so much better than that.
He needs a rebound feud. Paul Heyman had the people really believing Brock Lesnar was in the house. Like, they were ready for it. I was hoping that his backup would be Curtis Axel and that Curtis Axel was still a Paul Heyman guy. Didn't happen. Hey, it could have been him that took the damn jackhammer.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Either way, Paul Heyman took a spear. Rusev took a jackhammer. And I don't know where Rusev goes from here, but you had to have Goldberg show that he could do that before the match, I think. Because a lot of people are probably questioning it. Not everybody saw Gallows take one, but that's another thing. Gallows could have taken it. If Gallows is eating a DDT with a pumpkin on his friggin' head, why can't he take a jackhammer in the first segment instead?
That's a better use of him.
Why couldn't Anderson have been the one to take a DDT with a pumpkin on his head? I don't know.
Because they still view Rusev as having heft, I think.
Yeah.
Heft.
Yeah, I always thought it was going to be a terrible heel tag team that took the brunt of Goldberg's stuff. I thought they were going to have like, oh, it's 2-on-1. How's he going to defeat the Shining Stars?
Oh, I thought it was.
I thought it was going to be a pumpkin lit in the background, don't you?
I do, yeah. Pumpkin there, candles and everything.
Goddamn pumpkin lit in the background with candles.
Yeah, pumpkin,
and a spider.
And a big spider lights. Yeah, it's the Halloween Spooktacular, guys. I thought you got the memo.
Jeez, I didn't even notice this.
I thought this was the point of building up Bo Dallas, was to actually feed him to Goldberg. That's what I thought the point.
That would have made sense too. Why not that? Why not that? I mean, when's the last time he was on the show?
Tonight.
Bo Dallas was on the show. Well,
Battle Royal.
But yeah, he was on last week. He rolled up Axel in Minneapolis.
Okay.
He got all that heat
true.
by beating the hometown boy. And how do you use it? By having him get eliminated second in the Battle Royal. So
Trick or street fight. Yeah, I'm cool with that kind of stuff typically.
At least they made
There
it
were some
entertaining.
okay things. The Toy Story stuff I thought was great. The match was ridiculous, but for some reason I couldn't stop watching it. Like, I don't know why. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
My only concern is that you keep on bringing up this storyline that Anderson and Gallows are these badasses, and then you put them in things like this the night after they get an actual clean win, you know, just to make all things even. And that's just, I mean, these guys, I mean, they're comedy characters now. I mean, you can't give them that tough guy credibility anymore. I mean, you've stopped and started like 3 times now doing that, right?
Yeah.
And the pumpkin didn't even fit on Gallows' head. That's the most embarrassing thing.
Oh, they struggled. You know, for all the shit that Kevin Dunn gets, boy, he saw that coming as soon as it happened. And he was like, get the camera off of Gallows immediately. Cut to a shot of Enzo Amore on the top rope. Because Cass and Gallows were struggling big time to get that pumpkin on his head.
Yeah.
Alex, your thoughts as a journalist who covered this?
Well, it was when they first panned around the ring and there were all of the Halloween-themed objects. That was when I tweeted you that it was cruel and unusual punishment for me to have to cover this. However, when they came out, Enzo and Cass, and did the Toy Story thing, like I was They made it work. And who knew that Big Cass did a dead-on Tom Hanks as Woody impression? There's a snake in my boot. Like that was great. I had no idea. All the gags involving it, and Enzo beating Luke Gallows with a plastic skeleton was compelling television.
How in the shit did Corey Graves not use a falling with style line when Enzo jumped off the top rope? Come on. It's ready-made. He was dressed as Buzz Lightyear.
It's true.
I'm hoping Disney sues them.
Oh, man. I've seen shows, I don't know how they run them, like where they wear like the full suits and they wrestle matches as like Super Mario and stuff. Man.
Just glad it wasn't the women who had to do this, because that would generally be their role, especially like on Thanksgiving.
Brian Kendrick called out TJP's character for being a total dumbass, which is good because his character is a total dumbass. Yep. A complete idiot. Now, the thing I like about this is it made Kendrick look better, and it pissed off TJ Perkins. He got more aggressive both before, during, and after the match. But there was the finish of this match came when Brian Kendrick wouldn't get all the way back in, but he was partially back in for the 10 count. Now, if that doesn't qualify as being in the ring, then a lot of the count breaks that I've seen in the history of time where people would roll in and out sure as hell shouldn't count. Yeah. Alex, do we need a fifth match here?
Well, this was the most alive I've seen TJP on the main roster. Like wrestling with real purpose, like being.
Oh, he hit the reset button.
That's true. He did. He did hit the reset button. I saw somebody tweeted something about how that TJP should come out tonight while holding the belt, saying that he was able to hit reset last night before Brian Kendrick hit save. Because that's
basically
just
unplugged.
Unplugged.
You could just unplug the system before anybody could do anything. It's I don't think we need to see any more of it. I think we will. I think this was certainly open-ended with TJP attacking him after the bell and putting him in the knee bar. Like they're continuing this, but like I said, the guys who really pop in the crowd when they're out there are Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann. They need to be in the title picture as well. Well, they all need some friggin' character is what they need. Yeah, there is no character to anybody except for Brian Kendrick. Jeff, your thoughts on the TJP Brian Kendrick situation and where that goes from here?
If you had told me they were going to blow it with TJ Perkins, I would have called you a liar. But they did.
They sure did.
I didn't like this Brian Kendrick promo at all. It was far too monologue-y in terms of, the villain chewing scenery to give a lot of exposition.
I buy that from. He's the one guy.
You can talk me off this ledge. I just wanted him to say you're a moron. That's all I wanted to hear. And you didn't get that.
I think that he fancies himself as a movie villain.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I think that he fancies himself as a movie villain, and he is that type of guy who would reveal his entire plot to you before trying to push you out of an airplane, giving you a chance to defeat him.
Okay, you know what?
In which TJ Perkins would reply, "Why do you want to kill me?"
You changed my mind on this. I didn't like it at first. Now it makes sense. But I did like the added toughness. I liked him putting on the finisher after the match, kind of being a pissed off babyface. I don't think enough babyfaces show that kind of anger at losing. They just kind of blow it off in the WWE parlance. John Cena coming out, and the happy, well, I lost last night, but I'm still one of the fans. I did it, whatever. I liked that TJ Perkins was upset at this turn of events, and he took it out on Brian Kendrick quite a bit.
Mick Foley in storyline, as I wrote in my blog, is preventing Stephanie McMahon from coming out and emasculating wrestlers. Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho are out there saying that Mick Foley better beg them to be on the Survivor Series team. And Mick Foley says, I do want you both on there, but Stephanie only wanted one of you, and that's Kevin Owens. And he goes, I had to stop Stephanie McMahon from coming out here and letting her have a piece of her mind, or giving you a piece of her mind. So I like that in storyline, Mick Foley is like, listen, maybe you don't need to go out there and shit on our male wrestlers all the time. Jericho has started to heal people with the list instead of getting a big babyface reaction out of it. And boy, tonight would he have gotten a babyface reaction out of it, because Roman Reigns came out there, did his shit that he does that nobody likes. When he comes out there and cuts the howdy doody promo, and it's unfortunate because he doesn't need to cut that howdy doody promo, but he does. And boy, is it a howdy doody promo for sure. Jericho was about to put him on the list, and then he says that nobody deserves to be on the list. But wait a second. Isn't the list supposed to be a bad thing? Alex?
Yeah, no, the thing about this is that he recognizes that if he puts Roman Reigns on the list, then you know the crowd's going to cheer, and he's not supposed to be the bad guy here because you know that's been dictated by Vince that Roman's supposed to get cheers. Roman comes out there and says, "You boys don't look very happy to see me," even though like he's the U.S. champ. When does the U.S. champ talk to the guy above him in the totem pole that way? I mean, like it just doesn't ring true. He just feels like he's being put on this thing. You know, he comes out of a match last night where he gets the crap beat out of him. But he's like, you know, I got beat up last night, and then I hulked out and won, and so I'll take you out tonight on your Jericho. Like it's just really bad writing that this poor guy can't sell with his acting ability, and you know it's just not working.
Oh, it was all downhill from the line he had in his holster when he came out. When he started getting booed, he goes, "It sounds like we got a couple of ghosts out here." I immediately, my brain just
that was
clicked
straight from Vince.
Oh yeah,
you could tell.
Yeah, have one out there in case they boo. And it's Halloween. Great, we'll make a ghost joke. This is who Roman Reigns is. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, you know, Jericho is still out here making chicken salad out of everything, quite frankly, with his reactions and the way he's delivering things and the slow burn of the breakup between he and Owens while still tipping their hand is still quite compelling. So you kind of forgive it for this. But I go back to your point about these Survivor Series teams. They make no sense. They don't have any stakes to them. It's long.
They need to add stakes.
It's brand pride. It's brand pride, and nobody cares about the brands except the McMahons. So
they gotta add something. They have to add something. An incentive just for them to work together, even.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just add something. A title shot for the sole survivors. Something like that. That would be cool. Don't know if they'll do it. They did. Braun Strowman had probably his longest promo yet tonight backstage. And it wasn't bad. Wasn't great. But Mick Foley put him over really, really well. He was like, you can't just do this by intimidating me. Or you can't get what you want by intimidating me, even though you intimidate me. Because that sets a terrible precedent that I don't want to set. It made sense that he said that. So he put Braun Strowman in a battle royal with the winner getting a shot on the Raw roster. Now, if I were Mick Foley to add to that, I would have said, had you just asked, I would have just put you in the damn match. But since you tried to intimidate me, I have to do this because of the precedent that it would set. What did you think about this backstage interaction with Strowman and Mick Foley? And are you surprised with Braun Strowman? Or as surprised as I am, Jeff?
With what? That they put him on this team? No.
With that, he's the greatest wrestler ever to step foot in a ring. Greatest character, greatest thing to ever happen in WWE.
I just love that no one else bothered to ask Mick Foley after that to be on the team. That's all they had to do was ask, and he might have said yes. This is how they're going to build him. So I don't have a problem with it. I think ultimately Braun Strowman surviving this match. I don't think SmackDown wins this match, and I think we're getting a Braun Strowman James Ellsworth rematch in there. I
or,
do.
Or a count out DQ situation. I could see that as well.
I could see that too.
That's how they did it old school anyway.
Yeah. I mean, but they're not going to eliminate him. They're still building him, and they're doing the slow build. And I thought they did a decent job with him. And it's so odd because I think they did a decent job with Sammy, but man, they sacrificed Neville on that altar tonight. And he's the guy to do it because he's small and stuff. But given that they haven't given Neville much to do, especially not putting him in with the cruiserweights, I mean, you're just kind of like looking at, man, I can't wait to see Neville get destroyed again tonight.
Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, the thing with the Survivor Series thing that's really going to increasingly bother me over the next few weeks is that there's no inherent drama on each show because they all have to work together. You know, the next thing, their next step is they all have to be on the same team. So, you know, you have a match like tonight with, you know, Reigns and Jericho, and they're going to have to be teammates. They're going to suck it up in 3 weeks. So they're not building toward an actual feud within the show. It's all, oh, we hate SmackDown for some reason.
Yeah, Alex, I'm going to cut you off real quick. They think the drama is that all these teams can't get along with one another and that they eventually come together for brand pride. And
well, that would be fine if you weren't running that as a standard tag team gimmick right now.
Exactly.
With Cesaro and Sheamus. We've seen enough of that we're tired of it now, and you can't just give us that over and over and over again.
Because if you notice, the all three teams have this storyline going on Raw.
Yeah, exactly. No, they have to. They have to because there's in the old days you would have teams of heels versus teams of faces face off against each other, and that worked. Now, because you have to have the top guys on each show, you've got to put heels with faces, and they hate each other. But for this one night, they're going to work together for brand pride, which makes no sense. Mm-hmm. It's impossible for us to accept that as something logical. So we're going to rebel against it. Now, as far as this match goes, I loved pretty much everything about it, including Darren Young wearing a costume as Bob Backlund. Also, yes, Neville is getting smashed every week, or he's beating Jinder Mahal in 3 minutes. It's not the best use of him, but I like the use in this match because he never backed down. He went at Strowman twice, and he said, "I'm not intimidated by you. I'm going to try and win this match." Now, he can't because he's 190 pounds and the guy weighs him by 200. So, you know, that's a storyline within the match that you can use.
It's hard for me to listen to a guy who's in the goddamn Justice League tell me he doesn't believe in brand pride.
Well, you know, we've had a difficult time, us against Marvel. They're kicking our asses, but we have confidence in the Justice League movie.
I swear to God,
it's Ben Affleck.
It took me half the segment to realize that Darren Young wasn't David Otunga.
Yeah, I thought he was too. I was like, oh, shit. They just said, get in there. He was backstage, and they were like, get your ass in there. Now, a lot of people, myself included, thought Sami Zayn was going to eliminate Braun Strowman and win this match. He did not. So Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn still isn't happening at Survivor Series. Jeff, do we get that match before Survivor Series or after?
I think we're getting a series of matches, and I think Sammy's only going to pull out one of them at some point. He's going to sneak a win. Braun's going to slip on a banana peel. Overall, it's going to be Braun Strowman continuing to beat Sami Zayn over and over until Sami gets that one win. And then Braun will probably get a 50-50 booking the next night, whenever that is. But this is kind of also, I mean, it is what it is. I hate to say it that way, but that's how they're going to use Sami, and the drama is in Sami eventually overcoming, and then Braun eventually destroying him after he overcomes.
Yeah, it still boggles my mind we didn't get that match yesterday at some point. Even if in a 5-minute thing where Sami gives it his all for 4 minutes, and then Braun catches him and squashes him, and then we can move on to the next step in that feud. It was built so well, the Raw before the pay-per-view, to not include it in any way was just weird.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that Sheamus and Cesaro worked together for a while in this Battle Royal before turning on one another. That played into their match later on. They ended up working well together in the end. So That's starting to come along. They'll be in that tag match at Survivor Series, I'm sure, and probably get the title shot again at Roadblock in December, which is weird. There's going to be 2 Roadblocks this year. They could have totally named that something else.
Yep. Unforgiven, whatever you want to call it.
I'm glad the cruiserweights got a reaction tonight in the 6-man tag, but they have got to do something with these people creatively. Now, I'm talking to 2 people here who have been involved in theater and acting and writing. Does it make it? It just doesn't make any sense to me to just put these guys out there cold all the time, Alex.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I think you could do a lot of building character through relationships. Like they're always putting Tony Nese and Drew Gulak together. I mean, I think they look really good together. I think that they work really good together. So give them 45 seconds in a Raw Fallout video where you can see them working together. What do they have in common? Why do they have the same approach? Like, we just want to hurt people. What is it about them that makes them a thing that you always keep putting together? I mean, it's really cheap and easy, but have Lince Dorado and Sin Cara work together. They worked really well together at the pay-per-view. They're both masked. They both have what they like. They're acrobatic. I mean, Sin Cara not so much anymore, but like you could easily do that. You just start with lowest common denominator stuff, establishing people's connections to each other, and then right from within that. I mean, it's weird. It's hard. It's so hard to like try and get over 6 guys plus the 2 main that you're working in the main part of the cruiserweight division. That's 8 guys that you're going to try and write for. It's just not possible. So you're going to try and like give little spots at a time to get them over individually. Would be really difficult if you were writing like full-on monologues for these guys.
I just think you need to connect their want to what they're doing in the ring. It's far simpler to do than we give them credit for, to be honest with you. I mean, look, Rich Swann likes to have fun. That's not a reason for me to watch him in a wrestling match. You know, you have to connect the two in there. Cedric Alexander lost weight. Okay, why? So he could be quicker and do these athletic moves. Drew Gulak as a bully would be great for this division. You know, Tony Nese, same way. You got to connect the two things rather than just these buzzword branding type of things that they've been doing. You could get Rich Swann over easy just by replaying his entire CWC video package as opposed to just the parts where he goes, he likes to have fun and he's from Baltimore, because his entire life story is compelling. All you have to do is get some sort of emotional connection with the audience and connect their motivations to what they're doing in the wrestling ring. It's not that hard, but instead look at TJ Perkins and the video game puns. Okay, it's not about, you know, him being a little bit cocksure and that's how he kind of goes about his way in the ring. It's about puns and power-ups and crap like that, you know. You just have to do the second step. They've got the first step down. Take the next available step, but it seems like they're rushing to write this show to the point where they're doing basically what WCW did with the Luchadors, where they're just throwing a bunch of them out there at the time and say, get over.
Like Michael Cole called Rich Swann effervescent tonight. Effervescent. That's how far deep they've dove into the thesaurus.
Beverages are effervescent. All right, people are not effervescent. That's like saying
always effervescent Rich Swann now in the ring. I don't know how that helps anybody.
They make these guys look like a bunch of errand boys. I don't like it. I hope Emma doesn't become an errand boy. I hope she is used correctly when she comes back. I don't know what the deal's up with these Emelina vignettes, but I'm not going to hold my breath. What do y'all think of the Bayley Charlotte promo? In my opinion, mediocre, maybe at best. I like keeping Sasha off the show to sell the injuries. Nia Jax beating Bayley, probably the right call at this point. I mean, if you've ever heard a Bayley interview, she knows that as well. She doesn't need to be contending for the title immediately. That's how you build her up, is that she has to be in a situation where she does look like an underdog. And I mean, thus far she is. She beat Charlotte once, so you know she can do it. But she's lost virtually everything else except for the Dana Brooke match. Jeff, your thoughts on the women's segment?
I think there's a danger in how they're pushing this women's division in that Charlotte is the star and everybody else are kind of her supporting cast here. I disagreed strongly with the choice to take the belt off of Sasha last night because now she's had 2 and 3 week runs as champion. She needs that big win to establish herself as an equal to Charlotte. The problem right now is they're doing the same story with Sasha, really, that they're going to be doing with Bayley in the underdog type of role where Sasha can't really beat Charlotte in the big one. They're going to do the same thing with Bayley here, and they're not going to let Bayley win the first time either. And in order to build a legitimate division here, you have to have someone who is Charlotte's equal in some way. And right now, I just think Sasha could have been a secondary star in this division. She's still over, don't get me wrong. And that's not the problem here. The problem is credibility in terms of she hasn't had a title defense when she wins the title. She hasn't had a single title defense in there. And to be seen as Charlotte's equal, let Bayley be the underdog of the division and build her up that way. The win over either of them, it's a big deal. And right now it's I think they've kind of revamped their thinking, and instead of having 4 strong horsewomen, now Charlotte is the star, and everybody else has kind of lost a little bit of luster. I liked the Nia Jax thing, to be honest. I think Emma's gonna probably end up being on this team as well for her debut. I don't know if she ends up replacing Dana or Bayley, but I think I think one of those two is gonna play into the story somehow.
I'll say this. The third on the Raw depth chart would be number 1 at like any point over the last. Yes. And that's a good problem to have. That's a very good, since maybe Trish Stratus, with the exception of that summer where AJ Lee was just really, really, really over, like that maybe that one instance. Otherwise, like I said, Bayley, Charlotte, or Sasha Banks at any given time would have been number 1 in that company. So this is, one of them is going to lose their luster. That's going to happen.
Right. But, I just think the time to give Sasha the big signature win was either Mania during the Triple Threat or at this Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It was one of those two. I completely agree.
Or at SummerSlam when it had been built up, people had almost been expecting it. But this Hell in a Cell, it was her hometown too.
Yeah, it was, look, the story was fine. The way they eventually did it was fine. In Boston, that would have been a real signature win and a real quote-unquote moment that you could have put on video then to then establish Sasha as a strong 1B in the division, I think.
So, Alex, you think they're running with the Charlotte winning streak gimmick at the pay-per-view?
I do. I think that they pushed it. Listen, I didn't know that she had a winning streak going until it was like 11 in a row, and that's when they started. I don't even know if they did. Well, that's the whole thing. Like it doesn't have to be a thing at all. But once they started talking about it, now it's a thing. Now they're going to keep pushing with it, and I think that if you're going to do that, it's got to be at a big 4 where she loses. Like really push it up. I wouldn't mind seeing her lose it at Rumble, but I think they're probably going to keep it going until Mania. Now, I mean, as far as the rest of the women's division goes, you're right. It's really thin. I mean, right now it looks like the top 5 is Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, Nia, and Dana. Like maybe Emma replaces Dana, but like that's weak. That last 5th one is not good. But I love the thing with Nia Jax. I don't know if anybody else caught this.
Oh. By the way, Dana Brooke jobbing to Alicia Fox on Superstars tonight.
Wow. Of course she did. Of course she did. Huh. That's great. That's a great way to keep that 5th slot really powerful. Is to have
you remember when Fightful.com debunked that rumor that they saw Dana Brooke as the next big star? No, they never did. Not after like week 1 did they see that. It was not a thing. Now, here's something that I just entered my brainwaves today, and I want just both of you to react. One word, yes or no. Does Charlotte become a 16-time women's champion before it's all said and done?
No.
Alex. She already had it 3 times.
Yes. Yes,
Wow, okay.
Yes, if she hangs on long enough, if she decides I'm not going to retire at 33 to have kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she's already in her early 30s, so
You know what I mean?
I think 16 is a problem.
That could be something that they're doing by having Sasha take it from her on every 4th Raw, you know?
Yeah, I thought about that.
It allows her to get the next one, and then she can maybe, have the 16 along with her dad.
Is that a compelling story where Sasha wins it on the Raws and then loses it on the pay-per-views?
I mean, it is if they build to a point where they keep saying, and they have Charlotte do this, you can't beat me when the lights are brightest. That's where I shine. And then when Sasha finally does, but I don't trust them to do it right, but you could do it in that way. Nia did this thing as she was leaving. She was walking up the ramp. She shot a death glare at Charlotte. Like Nia is nobody's friend. Nobody. She's out for herself. I would love to at some point see a Charlotte versus Nia match where Charlotte comes up against somebody that is,
I think that would be compelling. I think that would be it'd be really interesting too because I don't know how that match is going to work.
Neither do I.
I don't know who's going to lead.
Yeah.
There. So Reigns and Jericho, I thought had a good match. I'd like to see Jericho eventually get maybe a one-day reign with that U.S. title just because he's never held it. But that was a nice little story. I think they should have built that up a little more. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns won, obviously. Rollins is the logical 5th man for this Survivor Series team, right, Jeff?
Yes. I don't think there's any doubt.
No.
Now, another question I have for you. How long do these Survivor Series matches go on a 4-hour show? An hour each?
Oh, geez. I hope not. I don't think these matches could maintain an hour worth of drama unless there was something to it. I mean,
got to be staked.
Even the best War Games matches only lasted 35 minutes tops. So.
Yeah, War Games were overrated though.
Oh, you were so wrong. Let me backtrack real quick here to the women. Kudos to them for putting it at the top of the 3rd hour and continuing to try and make it a big thing. I think I often in my criticism and my skepticism shade that fact that they didn't try and lose the women in the middle of the 3rd hour, so to speak. But no, back to the point. Rollins is definitely the 5th man here.
Alex, what did you think of this main event tonight?
Really?
Listen.
Okay.
Listen. I'm not the guy to ask about Roman Reigns right now. It's gotten to a point where I can't be objective about it.
What you're trying to say is when it rains, it pours.
I am. I'm saying that. I'm saying that people need to stop attacking his chest because he is wearing hockey pads.
Yeah, that was weird to see a kendo stick to the friggin' chest while he's wearing tactical gear.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Remember when D'Lo Brown wore that shit and it was a big heel move?
Yeah, no, nothing he does is a big heel move, apparently. I thought that Jericho did a really great job. I think the match itself is fine. It's just the way that you're listen, if you read my live Raw coverage, I break this. I said, this is how it's going to go. Here's all the beats of a Roman Reigns match, especially on Raw. And the way it went was exactly the way I said, right down to he wins by DQ, and then he gets beat down, and then Rollins comes out. Now there was a very cool moment at the end where they turn around and look at each other, and they have the memory of Goldfish. That all the stuff that these two guys have done to each other, maybe it's cool with me now since we're both on the same side, heel and face wise. They didn't jump the gun and do the handshake, which I was assuming they were going to. So kudos to their restraint. But it's just one of those things of these guys should hate each other forever, even if they're on the same alignment.
I wouldn't mind getting a Hogan Savage-esque iconic handshake out of this. I wouldn't mind that. I felt like they could have done that Shield triple threat at a WrestleMania, and they could have ended the show on it. No Attitude Era wrestler that you're bringing back, anything like that. Nobody from 15 years ago. I thought that they could have, even with the brand split, they could have done it. You could have had Seth or Roman Reigns go into Royal Rumble as a champion. The champion lose the title to the other guy. Hold on to his rematch until WrestleMania. Dean Ambrose wins the Rumble and says, I'm going after that title. And you could have had that. Dean Ambrose comes up short, goes back to the SmackDown brand. No big deal. But I think it should have main evented a WrestleMania. I think those are the three guys that probably could have done it. Now it's probably going to be Braun Strowman that's going to do it with Darren Young dressed as Bob Backlund. That's the closest we're going to get. Jeff, what kind of look do I see on your face, Jeff? It looks like a look of skepticism.
I'm pondering your question from earlier about are these matches going to go an hour? And you know what? If Survivor Series is if it's a 4-hour program, I don't think the teams we're seeing now are the teams that we get. I think they're going to bail. I think they're going to put title matches on here. I think these teams are going to eventually be watered down somewhat as opposed to the 5 best in terms of that. I think they got enough time where they're going to change things up. You're probably going to end up getting Owens and Jericho as a title match or maybe a triple threat somewhere. I just can't see them doing basically a 4-match show with some filler in terms of I mean, and there's no filler there. There's nothing on the lower card unless they, add 6 NXT matches of some kind. I just don't see this happening. I think that these teams have to get watered down. They're eventually going to bail and put singles matches in there. They can't fill a 4-hour show with these Survivor Series matches.
They did one that went 43 minutes a couple years ago. It was the Ziggler one, the one Ziggler won.
Yeah.
But and I think they could go more with a Raw versus SmackDown, but that match had stakes.
Yeah, which they bailed on.
That had the Authority versus Cena stakes to it. If this has stakes, it has to have something like that important to get people to care about it. Give them a reason. Now, the tag match, probably going to go 20-25 maybe. The women's match, probably 20-25.
Is that if you are eliminated, your partner is eliminated?
Yes.
I'd assume so, yeah.
Because if it's not, then you have a great way of wasting an hour. Because that's 20 dudes that need to be eliminated.
Yeah, but
they could change that rule immediately and make it so that you could have. But again, here's the thing: it doesn't take you much longer to eliminate both vaudevillains as opposed to one vaudevillain. You know what I mean?
They did these in the late 80s, and that was the way they did it. Is that if you're eliminated, your partner is eliminated as well.
Right. And I that's what I remember it being that way. But I'm saying if you're trying to fill time, you could have Jason Jordan get eliminated, and 25 minutes later Chad Gable get eliminated. You know what I mean? You could have in a way that works, because I want to see both of those guys in there. In wrestling, I don't want to see one of them go out and the other one's got to leave too.
Let me posit.
They won't do that, unfortunately.
Let me posit something else. Is it possible that these guys end up doing some double duty? Perhaps I know they don't want to overshadow Goldberg and Lesnar necessarily, but is it possible that we, in addition to the 5-on-5, we also get a title match?
That's what I assumed we were going to get, but this whole thing, I mean, I wish that I believed what you do, Jeff, that they're going to go back on this. But when they have, when they've come out and said, Jericho, Owens, Reigns, you're on the team. I don't feel like they're going back. So it's going to be these guys who the other guys. I don't know who else would have singles matches. You're going to just book a Rusev versus, I don't know, Sami Zayn.
No, you book something like Rusev versus Rollins for the right to be on the team, and then maybe Owens and Jericho screw Rollins in some fashion, and then it gets paid back by someone else.
Qualifying matches on the card would be a really cool touch. I don't have confidence in these people to do stuff that's.
Well, they got to fill Raw somehow. I was saying it would possibly be on that. But,
yeah. See, that's the thing is that Raw is long enough.
Oh, I know.
As I mentioned, there are discussions about a cruiserweight elimination match as well.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they'll do it. Just discussions of it. Guys, by the way, if you haven't visited the site before, visit Fightful.com. Newly revamped imagery, designs, crap like that. Makes it easier on the eyes. New podcast section. Go to Fightful.com/wrestling/MMA/boxing. If you don't like one of the other sports, check that out. We have a great video section. We have tons of media that goes up on the site. I think you all will like that a lot as well. Register to get early access to Vince Russo podcasts, Showdown Joe podcasts, Matt Riddle podcasts. We do shows after every major UFC event, every WWE pay-per-view. We do live viewing parties of every show, wrestling, MMA, boxing, that you probably care about, from Evolve to WWE to UFC, Bellator, boxing. We got the Pacquiao fight this weekend. Also, our forums are getting updated very, very soon. It'll be in the V-Bulletin format. Also, subscribe to our YouTube page. Leave us a thumbs up. It really helps. If you go over to Fightful.com/podcast, you can also get the show on MP3. It's coming to iTunes as soon as they approve it. Now, not a whole lot of additional wrestling news today outside of the fact that Austin Aries is out for the year. It's a blow to NXT, but I don't think it's a giant blow to NXT, Jeff.
No,
I don't know if he wasn't taking off or anything.
Well, the one negative is he won't be on that takeover show in Toronto. I think that's the one big deal because, I mean, he's been fantastic. And I went to the NXT show last night, and he was replaced by Eric Young in a triple threat. Look, when they say he's out for the year, that's a month and a half, 2 months.
Yes.
So, I mean, orbital bones need healing. So I have no problem with this. And he can still be on television. He can still cut promos. He could be associated with Roddy Strong the entire time and be fine.
Do you think that's what he goes back to, Roderick Strong, when he returns from injury?
You mean in terms of a tag team?
Yeah, you think that's what he does?
I don't know. I think he's too strong to just be stuck in a tag team because I think it was just for the Dusty Classic that he was going to be in that. I mean, his use can be to build up other guys on this roster as singles, so no.
You're saying that he's too strong to be stuck with Roderick?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not biting. No. I was told to stop laughing on the podcast, so you will not get giggles from me on that.
How dare you?
Totally no-selling you.
How dare you?
Serious Jeff is here, and I'm being serious.
Well, I'm glad that you were the balance tonight.
What? You mean I may have been dressed silly, but I feel like I was very serious with my analysis.
1 week before you start full time.
Is this what we look for in an associate editor? Is this what we look for?
Is this it?
It's Halloween, guys. I mean, come on. Where's your
It's
spirit?
not Halloween anymore where I am.
Well, it
still
is here. It's the witching hour.
So now you're Bat Ape. That's
yeah,
great.
well, yeah. Apparently the mask was muffling my microphone, so I had to call an audible.
Man. Guys, visit Fightful.com. All kinds of cool stuff there. We have exclusives all week from Bellator 163. We talked to everybody from Scott Coker, Phil Davis, Liam McGeary, Marlus Kunin, Sergey Karatanov. We have had interviews with CM Punk, Chris Cyborg, Daniel Cormier, Muhammad Hassan, EC3, Hurricane Helms, all kinds of people at Fightful.com. Stuff that you won't get anywhere else. We've had exclusive stories on tons of fighters, tons of wrestlers. Go check out our exclusive section. If you all have never done that before, check out some of the news that we've broken in the past. Some of that will be thinned down when we add the feature section. We're going to make that a little more exclusive, but we've had all kinds of cool stuff up there. Jeff, tell these peeps about Shake Dem Ropes.
I'd love to if I knew. If you've been listening the last 2 weeks, you've noticed I've been doing solo shows because Rob hasn't been able to record. I'm hoping that gets rectified this week. If it does, once again, our top 100 match, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 21. We'll go over Hell in the Cell. We'll go over Raw. We'll go over SmackDown.
Alex, tell these people what you do for the site and what you will be doing for the site starting next Monday.
I write the reaction pieces to Raw and SmackDown and NXT, Lucha Underground. I used to do main event and superstars, but don't do that anymore. And after what you've told me about Dana Brooke versus Alicia Fox, I sure am glad. Next week, I'm going to moving on and doing moving on up and becoming the associate editor, working full time for Fightful, living the dream. Doing a lot more news coverage, trying to get some colorful news items up, and also I'll be keep on doing the reaction pieces and do the Raw post Raw podcasts and also the post pay-per-view ones. Having a lot of fun.
Alex, I just have one request. You need to make this picture of you your avatar.
I may have to.
Thank you.
You should. You should. Yeah. Luckily, Fightful has grown in such a short period that it has justified us getting an associate editor, which makes me very, very happy because it's very hard. You go to a lot of major sites and they cover one sport and they'll have, 4 or 5 editors. I have, me and James do some editing, but James is a big shot in another world too. He started this because he loves wrestling. So fortunately, he let me have Alex as an associate editor. Very, very excited. As you all have noticed, David Tees is pretty much full-time with us. This is what he does. So we have him doing MMA coverage. Carlos Toro is, he's on a freelance basis, and he pretty much has turned it into his full-time job covering boxing for Fightful.com. So truly admire him for that. So we basically have full-timers all the way across the site, from podcasting to MMA, wrestling, boxing, all that kind of stuff. Help us out, support us, share us on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, and Facebook groups. Let us know anything that you want us to cover, any types of features that you want to see. I'll have a little more time to devote to that. I don't know if this will open up more time for me or just simply redistribute my time. Alex, what in the shitting fuck are you doing?
Well, this was just my third option for a costume tonight, but didn't really get to use it, so I thought I would bring it out at the end.
Is that the Tasmanian Devil?
It is. It's Taz. It's an oldie but a goodie.
I'm not going to hate on that. I went to a Halloween party this weekend dressed as Bill Murray from Space Jam, and my wife and I won a couple's costume contest that we didn't even enter. So I guess we play for the same team, so to speak. If you had a Space Jam jersey on,
that's right.
Jeff, you can dress as like Tweety Bird since you're Hawkins. You're the Hawk.
I'll be the Chicken Hawk. I'll be like Enzo.
Hot damn. Guys, we are back tomorrow night. I believe Alex will be with me, right?
Yes, I'll be here. I will not be wearing a Tasmanian Devil on my head.
Boo.
Somebody says, what about the Hot Asian Podcaster? Hot Asian Podcaster is in actual Asia right now.
Yes.
On her honeymoon.
Yeah. So
there you go. Somebody says,
Hot Asian is off the market. So take that.
Somebody says, watch out, Sean. Alex is coming for your job. Joke's on you. He doesn't cover MMA.
That's true.
Still irreplaceable for now. I like to think that nobody puts in the hours that I do. There are a couple of guys out there, but they own their own sites. Guys, like I said, join us tomorrow night after SmackDown. Hey, join our live viewing party too. I'm pretty sure we were over 1,000 comments tonight on our Discuss forum. Let me check before I go and brag on our community members. We were close enough. 986. Come hang out there. It's a lot of fun. Until next time, guys, we are out.
Night.